Gene, looking mighty grand at 80. Lowell Gene Bennett came into the world 80 years ago today on a hot spring afternoon in the panhandle of Texas. He was born May 21st, 1944, to Lowell and Vanita just outside of Borger, Texas. And before moving to Eric, Oklahoma, he spent the first years of his life picking dust clods out of his nose. Apparently, the boogers were black because of Borger's carbon black plant, which made the act that much more satisfying. Ultimately, Grandpa Gene's penchant for a tidy nose got him nicknamed the Little Booger from Borger. Well, today we are here to celebrate that little booger's 80th birthday. Maybe give him a spanking, maybe even a pinch to grow on. But before the ritualistic hazing, we're going to take a look at the top 10 character traits that make Grandpa Gene so unique and so lovable. Number 1, Gene is a loving brother, albeit with a bit of a feisty side. His brother Terry was 6 years younger, and Gene would occasionally run experiments on him, just out of curiosity. One time, Gene gave Terry some of their parents' medications, and sure enough made him puke his guts out. And Gene once tested a hot iron out on Terry's leg that sure enough made him scream out loud. And finally, he hit his older brother Gerald in the head once with a baseball bat, but for the record, it was not done out of curiosity. Despite the attacks, he and his brothers are very close and make sure to keep in touch throughout the year. Number 2, Grandpa Gene sometimes looks for trouble just for fun. Gene's buddies growing up in Eric were Sonny Slippery Stone, Larry Redneck Beck, Ronnie Fancy Francis. Everyone had a nickname. Gene's was Dumbo in honor of his pokey outy ears. On a side note, back then kids were cruel, and apparently it was cool. It was also cool to be juvenile fools, so they were pulling pranks and getting into trouble with some frequency, breaking into the town pool at night and causing mayhem with the local rent-a-cop. They would get up on 2 buildings and on one side would start shooting Roman candles at the cop as he made his rounds. When he started chasing them, the guys on the other building would start up. Usually they got away, but the rent-a-dude did take Gene home to his mom on more than one occasion saying, "Vanita, don't let him out again tonight." Number 3, Gene likes things just so, neat, tidy, and in their place. That includes his hair. Well, especially his hair. One day he was halfway to school when he realized to his horror that he hadn't combed his hair. He went all the way back home to correct the social blunder, and when the punishment came for being late, he took it. Not just like a man, but like a man with nice looking hair. Number 4, Grandpa Gene can be a little hard-headed. Gene always wanted to play football, but his dad didn't like the high school coach, so he wouldn't let him. But his senior year, Gene just insisted, so his father let him, and turns out both were sorry. In a cruel mismatch, the coaches put Gene head-to-head with their star linebacker during practice, who promptly knocked Gene clean out of football. He never returned to the game, except years later as a junior high coach, where I'm sure he never put a runt up against the brunt of the team. Number 5, despite his early exit from football, Grandpa Gene was a pretty good athlete back in the day. He canned 10 points one game in high school, leading the Eric Bearcats to a nail-biting 23-19 victory over the Sayre Eagles. Gene could throw a mean game of monkey balls, and he and his partner were frequently on the podium of the 4th of July water volleyball tournament. And finally, he's been seen to play an enthusiastic game of golf, now and then, here and there, up and down, and round after round. Number 6, Grandpa Gene is an ice cream machine. He worked at Bennett's ice cream shop from when he was 7 years old all the way through high school and college. Gene's father, Lowell, had taken over the parlor from Grandpa Marv, and the business was booming. Crowds from as far as Texas lined up for their citrus special, orange pineapple. 2 scoops for a nickel, 4 for a dime, and 20 cents for a milkshake. To this day, Gene's often imaginative, really, avocado, but always delicious creations are perennial fan favorites at every family gathering. On a side note, Gene has some killer baking skills as well, every year making 24 loaves of Yummerooski Dilly cheese bread to say Merry Christmas to the neighbors. Luckily, he doles some out to family, because it is can't stop eating good. Number 7, Grandpa Gene is a gifted artist. He's a landscape master, and to this day, it only takes him an hour or so to whip up his magnificent Hallmark Moment winter scenes, which, coupled with Audrey's touching poem, become the Christmas card that all of us here in the family can't wait to get. His amazing work fills the walls of their home, and most of us in the family have a beautiful piece or three bringing up our home values as well. Number 8, and hooked right up there with number 7, Grandpa Gene was an encouraging arts teacher at Tibbetts Junior High School for 28 years. He was good at conveying the concepts of composition and perspective, such that even the klutzes in his class came out with sketches that didn't go on the refrigerator, but in a frame in their rooms. Oh, maybe later in the garage. Several of his students had the gift, and Gene lit the fire that sent them on to their future careers. Gene was so well thought of in the education community that when he retired in 1993, on his birthday, the mayor gave him a fancy-dancy proclamation dedicating the day in his honor. When Gene retired from teaching, he relayed his art habit into 2 other careers. He built frames at the Frame Corner for the next 19 years, and after donating his equipment to the college when he and Audrey shut the corner down, he started teaching a framing class at the San Juan College, which he continues to this day. But back to the Frame Corner, the truth be told, there really wasn't that much framing going on. It was ran more as a charity for retired educators, as most of the day, Gene and Audrey and their partner Don McDowell would sit around with a handful of their old cronies complaining about the sorry state of the world. Uncle Hoot, Barry Sigmund, Bob Lover, Bob Irwin, Jack Butler, Jim Coggins, and Pete Crowley were all non-dues paying members. Number 9, Grandpa Gene is just that, a great grandpa, both figuratively and literally. He has 9 grandkids and 6 great-grandkids at current count, with hopefully more on the way. Back in the day, he was the Dairy Queen good dude and plied the little sharp lads with sugar-laden Blizzard at every opportunity. Blizzards may be gone, but now he uses his delicious homemade ice cream as the holiday sugar supply for the new batch of Little Lovelies. As great-grandpas go, that's pretty much his job. And finally, number 10. Gene is a deeply devoted husband to Audrey, and they have been married now for coming on 46 years. Most of that blissful, notwithstanding the hole in Gene's knees when Audrey accidentally crushed him between 2 cars. Their love has actually grown deeper since that controversial incident, and as Audrey's health and mobility have declined with age, Gene has been an absolute saint in his assistance, love, and genuine concern. Through their life together, they have shared the love of the Lord at Emmanuel Baptist Church, where as a greeter, Gene welcomes his people, as he calls it, in the north entrance each Sunday. Gene and Audrey have also shared the satisfaction of teaching young minds, the woes of being underappreciated educators, the buzz of drinking coffee all day with their buds at the Frame Corner, and the excitement of exploring the world, literally from top to almost bottom and all the way around the middle. It took them both twice to get it right, but Grandma Audrey and Grandpa Gene are in a relationship that was built to last. Well, Grandpa Gene, looks like it's time to get to that spanking. You have lived a full life and have given back to the world and to your family all along the way. We are all blessed to have been along for the journey and are grateful for the impact you have made in our lives. So let's lift a toast to you in celebration of your perseverance and longevity. Happy 80th birthday, Grandpa Gene. You're indeed the Grandpa Good Dude.